Top of the Time Comedy Club is Keith.
Hey Keith, hey, this is Kevin Cahak, the comedian. You told me to send you a video to show you what I can.
Yeah, I just watched your videos.
Oh,
they're really funny.
Well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Before we get things rolling, though, how are you looking on social media? Like, how does that?
Oh well, I guess I really don't do a lot. I'm not really a social media comedian. I'm more of a live performance comedian. So I really don't do a lot on social media. And hello. Oh.
Hi, this is Keith with Top of the Line Comedy Agency. Sorry I couldn't make it to the phone. Leave a message after the beep. I'll get right back to you. Thank you.
Hey Keith, this is Kevin Saha. I just was talking with you. We must have got disconnected. Well, here's the thing. I don't really do a lot on social media. Hello? Well, I am 41, so I don't TikTok. Wouldn't you want somebody that actually is good live instead of on social media? Why is it so important for me to have followers on social media? Those people never leave home. They just stay there and watch stuff on Netflix. Huh. Hey, honey, can I borrow $1,000? It's for an investment. Yeah, I'm signing up for the festival. It says put your Twitter handle on there. I'm not on Twitter. Is that an issue? Yeah, well, I don't think the people at your open mic care about how many followers I have on social media. Also, no, open mics aren't shows. Isn't Snapchat for nudes? Delivery. Large pepperoni. I don't have your app. I just want to order on the... I'm just saying you probably should have called me instead of posting on Facebook, Dad. Yes, I wanted to be there for Thanksgiving. Who's Steve? I'm calling about the production associate position you have at your factory. I don't have your app, so I can't. Yeah, I think I'm just going to make my own special. I mean, how hard can it be? I got a camera. I can put it on TikTok and Grindr or whatever the other sites are that people watch. All right, bye. Hey man, I'm your comedian tonight. So, have you guys tried doing comedy here before, or is this the first time? I mean, the setup looks really good. You guys nailed that. Hey, could you do me a favor? Could you go up there and introduce me? I wrote down some stuff. I think if you head up there, I wrote this, just read it verbatim. It's all my credits and things I've done. I just kind of head up there and just read these. Just, you know, get them thinking, you know, start the show off good. It just get the crowd really pumped up and excited. Also, could you do me a favor? I didn't write this down, but if you could tell people not to record the performer, because I'm trying to work on my brand, and I just really want to put stuff that's quality out there. I don't want anything crappy going on the internet, you know? I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Read that sheet.
We have a comic.
Just read the sheet. Hey, keep it going for your MC, everyone. You know, I feel bad. I don't think I got your name. I don't think you gave me your name. Well, all right. Well, keep it going for your MC. He must be a little bit nervous, which is fine. A lot of people don't realize this can be intimidating, coming up here and getting in front of a bunch of people. All right, well, what do you say we get this moving? I think he forgot to say my name. So my name is Kevin Cahak. Now the Cahak name is Bohemian, and Bohemians were a group of people that lived non-traditional lifestyles. They were marginalized by society. They typically were poor artists, entertainers, or vagabonds. So as you can tell by looking at me, I am keeping that tradition alive and well. That's right, we're going to learn things tonight. Now the Cahak name is also Slavic, which means it's a nightmare for receptionists all across this country. Because it's pronounced Cahak, but it's spelled C-A-H-A-K. Right? So it looks more like Cahak. Which can be tough, especially now. Because I don't know if people are trying to say my name or if they have COVID. Now the thing about a name like this, I don't have the luxury of walking into a pharmacy and filling my prescription just by saying my name. That's not going to ever happen. I mean, I've had the name long enough to know that I don't say my name when people ask for it. I just start spelling it. But even that can be confusing, because the letter C sounds like other letters. So I have to do that C like in cat thing that people do. But I'm a comedian. You know what's fun? Using words that make people uncomfortable. Yeah, that's C like in cervix, or clitoris, or circumcise. Makes you wonder if a doctor had a tricky last name, what would she do? Yeah, that's Pfizer. That's P, like in psoriasis or pneumonia. I did that joke down south in Oklahoma. Didn't go well. There was a guy in the front row. He stood up. He got really angry. He's just like, my uncle died of psoriasis of the liver. I'm like, I think that's cirrhosis. Cirrhosis starts with C, like in Cahak. My kids have it easy because I have 3 daughters. So they could get married, take somebody else's name if they want to. I'm pretty sure that's all they're really looking for in a spouse. They'll bring them home and they'll be like, yeah, they're an anti-vaxxer that believes that the world is flat, but they're a Smith. It's a coveted Smith name. I can't pass that up. Everybody knows how to say that. But yeah, 3 daughters. My oldest is 21, you know, because I enjoyed prom and I wanted to remember that the rest of my life. Like, that's how I do things. You know, collecting souvenirs. But she's an amazing girl. She's in college. She's got an apartment. She's got a job. She's dating this guy. He's kind of a dick. He likes to be called Richard, but he's a nice kid. He treats her well. Well, hey, how many Richards are here by chance? Just out of curiosity. All right. Yeah, Richard, you really have to make sure that they want that nickname or they like being called that nickname. Like, I used to have a boss, hated that everybody called him Dick. His name was Todd, though. But yeah, 3 daughters. 21, my oldest, and I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. But 3 daughters, being a dad with just daughters, that could be pretty crazy. There's things you learn. You know, like purple eyeshadow. That's my color. I found that out during a nap. Another thing I found out, you go through an excessive amount of toilet paper. It is crazy how much toilet paper you go through. Just a 36-pack gone on a weekend. I don't even know what they do with it. Another thing I found out is you can't ask a simple question and get a simple answer. That just doesn't happen when they're younger, you know? Like Megan, my youngest, 13, she comes home from school one day. She walks in. All I said was, hey, honey, how was school today? And she's like, well, today Sophia told Brittany that she didn't like me, but Hannah said she liked me, and Samantha said she liked me, so we started playing, and then Brittany came over and started playing with us too. Well, Sophia saw that. She got mad. She came over to me. She says, you're being mean. And I said, no, you're the one that's being mean. She's like, I'm going to go tell the teacher. She did. She went and told the teacher. Teacher came over and said, what's going on? I said, well, Sophia's being mean because she says I'm being mean. And the teacher's like, sounds like you guys need to talk about this yourself. So we sat down by the monkey bars. We talked about it. Turns out she was upset because Josh was talking to me and not her. I said, I don't even like Josh. Josh was just asking me questions about social studies. Once she found out that, she was okay with it, so we played the rest of the day. So, you know what? I guess I had a good day. A lot of unicorn talk in there, too. I cut that out for you guys. You know, you don't need to hear that. But yeah, she's Megan's a little comedian. She wants to do comedy. She wants to be an actor somewhere. But I think she could do it. She's quick-witted. She's pretty on top of things. She comes up with bathroom codes, right? Because she thinks it's rude to tell people when she's got to poop. So she comes up with these little codes to tell people what's going on. Like one day we had a board game and we're playing All of a sudden, Megan's eyes get really big, and she's just like, hold on, guys. I got to go drop a potato in the crock pot. And then she just went over it and walked to the bathroom. I'm like, that was pretty good. Like, at one time, I made chocolate cheesecake for my wife. She loves chocolate. Spent all day working on this thing. So my wife comes home from work, and she walks in, and I showed her. I'm like, oh, I made dessert for you. And she looked right at it. I thought she was going to get excited, but she's just like, oh, that's going to go right to my butt. Now, Megan didn't even skip a beat. Megan's just like, Mom, I think you're putting it in the wrong hole. Yeah, they're getting older now. When they're younger, you know, like the thing with the kids when they're younger is they never know when they have to go to the bathroom. It's like always an emergency, right? Like Megan was notorious for this. Like, I used to work my day job. I had to drive 45 minutes in the middle of nowhere. I was driving the kids to my mom's house, and she lives in the middle of nowhere. There's no place to stop. No gas stations, no grocery stores. So I load the kids up, 5 in the morning. I'm driving to work. I'm going to drop them off first. So we get like 10 minutes into drive, and Megan's just like, I gotta pee. I'm like, honey, you're gonna have to hold it. I gotta get to work. And she starts crying. She's like, I really have to pee. I'm like, all right. So I figured we could do this. I pull off on the side road because we're in the middle of nowhere. Figure we'll just do this on the side of the road. So I take her out of the car. Now she's wearing footy pajamas. And if you don't know footy pajamas, it's a one piece, you know, zipper from neck to ankle.
I'm filming again,
So I unzip her, and I'm thinking, okay, how do I do this? Do I do top down, or do I do the bottom up?
Yeah.
I went bottom up, and I held her in this ergonomically friendly seated position, right? Now, this is where I found out I didn't know enough about female anatomy as I should have, because I thought it would be like a steady stream, like it would just fall. I didn't know sometimes that thing sounds and acts like a broken sprinkler head. You know, it's just like spraying everywhere. You know, it's going to, I mean, just all over my pants and my shoes. Like, I'm freaking out. Megan's laughing. Like, I was freaking out so much, like, right after I called my wife, I'm just like, something's wrong with Megan's vagina. Seriously, like, it is, like, what do I do? I don't have my duct tape. I don't know what do I do. What do I do? Yeah, so Megan's my 13-year-old. Then I have Evelyn. She's my 16-year-old. She hates that name. Hates Evelyn. She wants to be called Evie. You know, like, we go to Claire's and Justice a lot, and Evie always tries looking for something with their name on. She never could find it, you know, and she gets upset. She's like, I don't like my name. It's not popular. I'm like, honey, you have a beautiful name, and it's popular in nursing homes, but it's coming back. You're like a pioneer. You're bringing it back, you know? Now, my wife was, one day she was out, she was shopping with Gwen. They were out, like, school shopping or something. And this was a time, Evie was 10. This was a time that Evie thought it was a great idea to ask Dad what it's going to be like when she gets her first period. Now, I know what happens, right? But I just don't know. How do you explain that to a 10-year-old? But I wanted to show my wife that I could be a good father, and I could answer these questions for her. So I thought about it for a little bit, and I'm like, all right, honey, you know when a snake sheds its skin? Like, that's what's going to happen, but it's your uterus. It's going to come out of your vagina. And the look of horror on her face, just pure horror. Maybe realize she understands that now. You know, she got it.
I'll show you.
I think I saw the mushroom.
No.
But yeah, having all daughters, that's, I think it's a lot easier than having, like, sons. Because I've watched my nephew, and he was like 4 at the time.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing with girls. Like, girls, if you're in, like, the backyard and you set them down next to you, they stay there. They just stay. I don't know if it's a herding instinct, but they just stay by you. My nephew, not so much. I set him down. I'm just like, oh, where did he go? Where did he go? And he's already a half block down the road with his pants off. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's just like, I don't like pants. I'm like, neither do I, but we have to wear them. And then I'm chasing him, and this doesn't look good. Grown man chasing a half-naked boy. Just not fun. Yeah, I hit a deer the other day, and my kids were there. They saw the whole thing happen. They were kind of upset. I mean, they weren't upset about the deer. They were just upset that we got kicked out of the petting zoo again. I don't know if you got that. I hit it. I punched it. Like, the deer knew what it did. That's all I'm going to say, you know. So we were living in Minneapolis for a while, and we went for a walk in this park. It was nice. It was like 95 degrees out. It was really hot. It was a nice park, but I'm just drenched in sweat. So I'm just sick of being wet, so I take my shirt off. And Megan's a stick, right? She just like skin and bones. And she's young. I mean, at the time, she's like 8 years old, right? She goes, oh, can I take my shirt off too? And my wife's just like, no, girls can't take their shirts off in public. And she's like, but I have a chest like a man. And then, of course, Mom says no, so what do? They ask Dad, right? So Megan comes up to me and she's like, Dad, can I take my shirt off? And I'm like, well, Mom said, no, you can't do that. She's like, why? And it makes you think, like, why can't women take their shirts off in public, you know? You have to think about this, because who's really against this, you know? Women, it's an equality thing. I think you would like to be equal. And men, we're not against it. Obviously, we go to places to pay to see these things, right? You have to follow the money. I think it's strip clubs. You know, strip clubs are the only ones negatively impacted by flooding the market with free boobs. It's got to be strip clubs.
I'm saying that anyone can be.
Well, I'm glad you guys are taking a joke. Not everybody can take a joke these days. It's getting kind of rough. See, I pick my kids up from school most days. And the other day I got to school a little bit too early, and there was a teacher standing outside, and she stopped me like right away, and she's like, excuse me, sir, which child are you here to pick up? And I'm like, you know, I'm just kind of looking around right now. Do you have like a 5 or a 6-year-old? You know, any color's fine. You know, I'm just kind of browsing right now. Yeah, she didn't think that was funny. The cops understood. They kind of laughed about it after. But no, my kid's getting older. We got the Nintendo Switch now. We have the Wii Fit board, right? And I saw it the other day, and I thought, we don't even play this. Why are we holding on to this? But my kids want to hold on to it, so I set it up. Now, if you don't know the Wii Fit, it's like a little board you stand on. You play games with it, right? It weighs you. You have to put your height in there. So I like I said, I set it up, and I stood on it, and it's just like the noise went, oh. I'm like, well, that's not good. So then it calculated my weight, my BMI, and it says, you're overweight. And I'm like, man, I got to do something about this. So I changed my height to 7'3", and now I'm right on. It's perfect. I joke around with my kids a lot. I always, like, pull dad jokes. I always, like, Megan, I'll always say, hey, somebody wrote gullible on the ceiling. And she'll be like, what? But she tried getting me that one day. We were sitting down for dinner, and she goes, Dad, somebody wrote gullible on the ceiling. And I didn't look. I just said, yeah, I know, they spelled it wrong. And she went, what? Oh, man, I just got myself. So we lived in central Wisconsin for a while. We rented this house. I had a nice acre lot that I had to push mow, you know, because I have money. Push mowing an acre sucks. But there was this big bald spot in our front yard, and I tried everything to get rid of this bald spot. I tried grass seed, fertilizer, like nothing got rid of the bald spot. So the last year I was there, I just did what my uncle did. I just grew it long on the side, and then I just combed it over.
I have a medical exemption.
You know, because that works for him, unless the wind blows.
Like,
Then the cat's out of the bag.
I don't have to wear the mask anymore.
Now, this one time I'm mowing the lawn, and in the distance I see a pile of dog poop. And I'm thinking, that's fine, the mower can handle this. But as I get closer, I look down, and I'm like, that is not dog poop, that's people poop. Yeah, somebody dropped a dookie in my yard. Now, I don't know how you would handle it. I stared at it for a while, because I don't want to pick this thing up. So I finally shut the mower off. I went in the house. I told my wife, I'm like, somebody pooped in our yard. And Evie was like, no, that was me. I wanted to see what it was like to be a dog. Yeah, true story. Didn't even, and that's not even the only time that she's done something like that. She's different. Like one time, like this was so long ago, I was giving Megan a bottle. Like my wife was gone with my oldest. They were out school shopping or something. So I'm on the couch watching Blue's Clues or Dora or whatever, giving Megan a bottle. Evie comes from the other room. She's like, the dog pooped in the bedroom. So I get up to go clean up the dog poop. I look down. I'm like, that's not dog poop. And she's like, maybe Megan did it.
I don't want to wear a mask because science.
I'm like, wait, Megan's wearing a diaper.
We get more carbon dioxide.
And then Evie looks at me realizing we're the only two left in the house. Like this plan of hers just fell apart.
And I really don't want to.
I'm like, why did you poop on the floor? And she's like, I wanted to get Megan into trouble. Like, that's how devious she is. Like, I feel sorry for whoever she dates. As soon as she brings him over, I'll be like, she'll shit on the floor. Seriously, she doesn't care. Like, if she wants to get you in trouble, she'll figure out a way.
Can I get a pack of Marblades, please?
So, I've been trying to teach our kids the golden rule. And if you don't know what the golden rule is, it's treat everybody the way that you want to be treated. Now, I think they got the hang of how is that the golden rule? She goes, well, she pushed me first, so that's how she wants to be treated. I was like, touche. Like I said, I'm married. I've been married for 16 years. If you do the math, I'm also a sinner. It's my favorite joke. I don't care if you laugh or not. But yeah, I think we have a pretty good marriage. There's a lot of ups and downs in every relationship. I think people know that. Like one time I thought my wife was cheating on me with my Puerto Rican neighbor. Yeah, it actually turns out I was wrong. He's actually Cuban. Yeah, nice guy. Really nice. He doesn't speak English that well, you know, he's mostly speaks Spanish, but you know what, he's a really nice guy. Like every time that I leave to go do comedy, he's there to wish me well. You know, I see him, like every time he comes up, he's like, mi amor es tu esposa. And I was just like, all right, man, it sounds good, have fun. Nice guy. So my wife is a therapist, like a mental health counselor, so that's nice. It's like I get free therapy, you know. She always is trying to analyze everything I'm saying, you know. Like anytime I say something, she's just like, so what you're saying is you're not happy in this relationship. I'm like, no, I was just letting you know we're out of toilet paper again. But yeah, it is, the free therapy is nice though. But no, when I'm not on the road though, I stay home, I watch a lot of documentaries. I love documentaries, I do. Anything narrated by Sir David Attenborough, I'm watching it. You know, the guy that does Planet Earth? Amazing voice. Like, I mean, seriously, anything he narrates, you know? Like, he could be narrating, like, one of those dumb YouTube makeup tutorial channels. I'm subscribing. I don't care. It's going to be amazing. It's an amazing voice. But I watch a lot of documentaries. Now, the thing is, if you watch a lot of documentaries, the thing you find out is you want to tell people all the stuff you learned, but these topics rarely ever present themselves in a normal conversation. You know, it's really difficult to get these things out. Like, discussing complexities of orca families and how each individual family creates their own unique language that's specific to them doesn't come up much. I mean, seriously, I had to write this joke just to get that one out.
That's good.
But the thing is you want to tell people all the stuff that you learn all the time, you know? So what I do now is I just take those little tidbits and I slip them in the middle of my sentences where people aren't expecting them. You know, like one time a friend of mine came up to me, he's like, hey man, I'm getting married. I'm like, oh, congratulations, that's great news. Butterflies taste with their feet. I'm happy for you. Did you set the date yet? Or are you going to send out the invitation soon? You know, but you slip him in there, and this way he doesn't even realize that he learned something new, you know? And every time you learn something new, I don't know if you know this, but you get an additional wrinkle in your brain. If you didn't know that, you're welcome. It's like I'm helping. Because my wife always says, why do you do that? I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I'm helping somebody. Like at my shows, like say somebody's going to be on a first date next weekend or something, or they're on a first date now. Because first dates are awkward, you know? You talk about your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, your occupation, yada yada. But after a while, you don't know what to talk about. It gets like a little awkward pause. But if you see one of my shows, that's when you can like pop up with one of these trivial facts and be like, you know what, kangaroos can't fart, and boom, you're back in the game. And if the other person comes back and says, you know what, elephants can't jump, it's like, oh my God, soulmates. My kids say watching documentaries makes me old. I turned 40 this last year. It's like, it's weird, I still feel like I'm 25. Although the other day I looked at my medicine cabinet and I saw icy hot hemorrhoid cream and Gold Bond medicated powder in there. I'm like, well, that's not helping me feel young. My wife says Gold Bond makes you smell like an old man, but you know what? The tingle's worth it. I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care. It's good stuff. I am getting hard of hearing, though. A couple years ago, I was out at the bar with a friend of mine. I thought he was coming out of the closet to me. Turns out he was just telling me how much he loves peanuts. Yeah, peanuts. I stopped at a gas station one time. I was getting something to drink. Went up to the register, the lady behind the counter, she's like, did you have gas outside? I'm like, you could smell that from in here? You guys could use that joke. They're not going to laugh, I'll tell you that. They don't find it funny. But anyways, I was paying for my stuff. I gave her a 50. And she's like looking at it in the light, and she's like checking to see if it's fake. And I'm like, I feel kind of like that's rude. And she used one of those counterfeit pens, and I'm like, what would have happened if that was a fake 50? Because I got that from a friend of mine. I don't know. I have no way of checking. And she goes, well, we'll take the 50. We have to call the cops. I'm like, well, how much are one of those pens? So here's something else I found out. Like, I love eating the burgers at Five Guys. Like, the restaurant, the burgers, oh my God, they're amazing. I love them. However, you have to be very careful on how you tell people about this place. I was talking to a friend that's never been there. I was trying to explain it to him, but I'm just like, have you ever had Five Guys? Oh my God, it's amazing. Like, it can get kind of messy, but, you know, it fills you up. Oh, it's good. But that's the stupid stuff that comes out of my head. I don't need people reading that stuff all the time. You know, besides, I wasn't good at social media anyways. You know, I played the game. I tried. I did. I really did try. I couldn't get likes, you know, that's the point. Get likes, followers, and all this. People want to be interested in your fake life. Couldn't do it. I did this show down in Indiana, and I posted a status on it once. I wrote, hey, I'm in Indiana for the weekend. Come check out a show. I got 2 likes. One was my wife. The other one was Jose, my neighbor. Like I said, nice guy. He's amazing. Very supportive. He's like, you should do more shows on the road. I'm like, I'm trying, man. He's like calling places for me, trying to get me booked. He's really supportive. And I feel like something's happening. You know, I'm not dumb. I talked to my therapist about it, and she says I just need to let it go. But I do. I say a lot of dumb things. Like one time, a friend of mine, he posted a status on Facebook. All he wrote was, it's going to be a rough couple of days. And I was the first one to comment, and I put, diarrhea? Right? Classic poop joke. Like 10 minutes later, I saw other people commenting on his post, and they all said the same thing. They all said, I'm sorry for your loss. I just heard. Yeah, his grandma died. And I gave him a poop joke. Like, really? Like... And this was back before the time in Facebook where you couldn't take your comment back, so it just sat there showing everybody how much of an asshole I was. I'm pretty sure somebody at Facebook did the same thing, and they were just like, you know what, we need to figure out how to take our comment back, because I said something really dumb. One time my wife had me cleaning the basement out, and I saw all these cobwebs all over the place. And I had to clean them up, and I was thinking, you know, these cobwebs, like, there's no spider around. They're just sitting there. They're all full of dirt. It kind of makes you think, like, how long was the spider in that web before I went, well, shit, this was a horrible spot. Should probably move. Do you think anybody ever questioned the paleontologist that discovered the T-Rex? You know, nobody looked at the statue and was just like, you know, I know you're an expert and everything, but are you sure you got the right arms for that? I mean, geez, they kind of look disproportionately short, don't they? And one day I was thinking of something, I don't even know where I came up with this, but it had to be pretty awkward for the doctor that came up with the idea for the suppository, right? I mean, how do you come up with that? You can't go up to your colleagues and be like, you guys know you can absorb stuff in your butt? Yeah, I was doing this experiment the other night, and I figured it out. Why did he do it? You know, was he just like, man, these pills taste horrible. I wish there was another way. I suppose I could try reverse. I know I have a friend of mine, he's a weatherman, and like, he's pretty decent at his job. He hasn't won any awards or anything. He did get a precipitation ribbon once. You get a precipitation? Alright. There's a lot of persecution in the world, and even though I'm a straight white male, I could see it. There's one I see that nobody ever talks about, though, and that's persecution of robots online. They can't go on Facebook or Amazon. Like, every time they try logging into Amazon, it's like, are you a robot? It's like, oh, shit. Like, they're just trying to buy gifts for their child. Yeah, I do a lot of shows on the road, like I was saying. I love bumper stickers. I like the funny bumper stickers. I really do. I don't get political bumper stickers. I really don't. Why would you put anything political on your car? I mean, seriously, nobody's sitting behind you at a red light being like, huh, you know what, I was against that issue, but this guy in the Jeep says I should be for it. I guess I'd give peace a chance, give it a shot. You know, I suppose we could coexist. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your bumper sticker politics. Like I said, I lived in Wisconsin, and the Republican governor, Scott Walker, he got recalled. And they had these bumper stickers that said, I stand with Scott Walker. A lot of people had them. And then one day I was going to a grocery store, and there was this guy in this pickup truck sitting there having a cigarette. On his back window, he used that window paint, and he wrote really big, like, I stand with Walker. And I thought it'd be funny. I walked up to him, and I'm like, you know, with Obamacare, you could probably get a mobility scooter instead of using that walker. Yeah, not even a chuckle from this guy. Like, all I got was a gun in my face. Another time, and this is, I was doing the show in Indiana. So I was on the highway. I'm going like 75 in the right lane. The guy in front of me was going 65. So I look over, check my blind spot. Nobody's over in the left lane. I'm going to pass him. I get over in the left lane. But just as I do it, the pickup truck speeds up, gets right behind me, lays on the horn. I look in the rearview mirror as I'm trying to pass this other guy. I'm looking in the mirror, and he's flipping me off. And I'm like, okay, what the hell? So I speed up. I'm going to get back in the right lane, hoping that this truck's just going to fly by me. But no, he pulls up right next to me, still flipping me off, and he's yelling something. Now, I'm not even paying attention to this guy. I don't want to deal with him, you know? And he notices that I'm not trying to pay attention to him, so he pulls up just in front of me and cuts me off, almost hits me. And he's flipping me off still. Now, I'm not even paying attention to that. I'm just reading the hateful bumper sticker literature that he's got going on in the back of his tailgate, right? So much hate on this tailgate. Like, I could just summarize, he had a severe distaste for Obama and vegans. That's what was going on for him. But right in the middle of all these bumper stickers was a big red one that said, what would Jesus do? And I'm thinking, Jesus wouldn't have done anything you just did. But I was raised Catholic. I'm like, okay, what would Jesus do in my situation? So I pulled up next to him on the left. I took a piece of bread and fish, and I threw it at him. And then I screamed, bless you, and I took off as fast as I could. A man's gait perfectly syncs up with Staying Alive by the Bee Gees 97% of the time. So my wife wants me to buy some more life insurance. Now, I already have some life insurance. It's just not enough, apparently. My wife wants to be sure that it's going to cover all of our expenses. Thing is I watch a lot of Forensic Files. It scares me. Pretty sure I'm going to be drinking antifreeze one of these days. And the other day, I hear my kids arguing about something, so I walk over and I can overhear what they're talking about. They were arguing over who gets my stuff when I die. So I'm thinking, I got to go to the doctor and get this checked out, because maybe I'm being slowly poisoned right now. So I go to the doctor to get checked out. Now, when you go into the first room, the nurse will check you out. And then the nurse asks you questions about domestic violence, which is great. So he asked me, do you feel safe at home? And I'm like, you know what? My wife is asking me to buy more life insurance, and my kids are arguing over who gets my stuff when I die. So no, I don't feel safe at all. Like, I'm kind of scared. But my doctor checked me out, and she says I'm not being poisoned, which is good. But she did diagnose me with vitiligo. Now, vitiligo is an autoimmune disorder where your skin cells stop producing pigment in certain parts of your body. It's the same disease Michael Jackson had. I don't know if you remember that. Basically, it results, you get these big, bright white blotches on your skin, and every once in a while it makes you go, but that symptom's rare. You know, that only happens for a few of us. But I was diagnosed with vitiligo, which I thought was odd, because I remember last winter I was driving my car, drinking a cappuccino, just driving, singing along to the Doobie Brothers as loud as I could, and I was thinking, there is no way that I can get any whiter than this. And I was wrong. What a fool believes. You get it? That's a Doobie Brothers song. What a fool believes. He is safe. So my wife's friend's having a kid. Koala bears have fingerprints just like humans. But her friend's having a kid, and my wife's buying, like, the kid onesies. Like, she's on Amazon, like, every day looking up things to buy this kid. I'm thinking, we're not invested in this child. What's going on? But the other, she seems really excited. So the other day, I'm like, you know what? We could try to have another kid, honey. And she goes, but you got a vasectomy. I'm like, I know, but we could still try. You know, I mean, that doesn't happen much at my house anymore. You know, I got to take whatever sales pitch I got. For now, all I get is excuses. You know, like I have a headache or tired, a rough day at work. Like, I get so many excuses, I get defensive. Like, I see the excuse coming. Like, that one day she stepped on a thumbtack and she's like, my foot. I'm like, I get it. We're not having sex tonight, okay? Like, you don't have to actually hurt yourself. You could just say, no, I'm not an animal. Now, I don't know if you other men do this at all, but, like, I love math. I like statistics, right? Like, I start my day every day at 100% chance I'm getting laid tonight. And then I just calculate my odds and I see where I'm at before I have to put my CPAP mask on, right? Because if you put that thing on, you're done. As soon as that mask goes on, you're at zero. It's just, I don't even think Ryan Reynolds can make that thing look good. You're done. But I do. I start my day at 100%. And then, like, my wife will come home and she'll start complaining about her coworkers. I'm like, well, there goes 60%. But then she'll pour herself a glass of wine. I'll be like, oh, yes, I just gained 40. It's like, would you like another glass, honey? Like, that one night I was trying to put my kids to bed and they weren't listening. So I'm, like, chasing them around. I'm like, you guys are costing me, like, 20%. Come on, let's go to bed. My wife heard that, so now she knows what I do. So one night we're going to bed. I'm standing there. I have my CPAP mask in my hand. I'm just watching. She comes in. She's wearing pajamas already, so that's a minus 26. She looks over at me. She goes, what are your odds tonight? I'm like, well, that tone of voice puts me at 0. I'm going to go watch a gorilla documentary. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not this sex-crazed person, like, walking around my house all the time, right? In fact, sometimes she's in the mood, and I'd rather go watch Ancient Aliens. I'm not like a crazy guy. Although, I must say I am afraid one day I will get, like, ED, like, I mean, think about it, because they say sex happens in the mind. It's all psychological. You know, and when you're young, you and your little guy, you get excited from anything. A touch on the leg, and he's going to pop up quick like, hey, I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm up for whatever's happening. Let's do this. Let's go. But I'm thinking, like, after 20 years of being rejected too many times, I'm afraid one day it'll be, like, go time, and I'll be like, where are you, little buddy? He's like, yeah, I'm not falling for that again. She's just going to get you all excited and then want to cuddle. Like, no thanks. I'm not getting up for that. Like, I'm good hanging here. I did that joke once and a woman in the front row asked, what if you're a woman and you're married to another woman? I'm sorry, I guess that joke wasn't for you then. Like, I can only speak of the experiences that I have from my own viewpoint. And I've never had a lesbian experience before. I mean, I've tried, but my wife was very opposed to it. I can't have opinions on every topic. Like, I haven't lived them. So I grew up in central Wisconsin, like I said. We lived there for a while, but a few years back, we moved to Minneapolis. And it was kind of intimidating. We lived in a small town. Now you're moving to a big city, you know, because you watch the news. There's dangerous neighborhoods you could drive through. It's scary, you know, and Google Maps does not tell you where they are. But, of course, if you don't know where you're going, eventually you're going to end up driving through one of them. And I did. We were going to go to a grocery store. And I'm, like, driving through, and the GPS took me through a dangerous neighborhood. And I'm looking at houses, and I'm thinking, like, God, how can people live like that? I pull up to this intersection. There's this guy staring at me like I don't belong in the area. I mean, look at me. Yeah, I don't belong in the area, you know? So I got nervous when the light turned green. I got out of there as fast as I could. I mean, I don't like to stereotype, but, I mean, it was an extremely wealthy area, and rich people sue you. Like, they're dangerous. And this guy was wearing a suit. He could have been, like, having any kind of legal document, just plotting a way to take my retirement, you know, just. Another thing I found out, when you move to Minnesota from a different state, you have to retake the driver's test, the written driver's test. But I found I went to the DMV, the guy said I had to retake the test. Well, I had to go to this other DMV, so I went there, and I get there, and there's 85 15-year-olds all ready to take the test with me. Just a whole network of children in there. So I'm sitting there watching these nervous kids get up. They get their number called. They go in. They take their test. They come out. They're all happy. They're high-fiving each other. I'm like, shit, I didn't bring anybody to high five. I'm by myself. But they finally call my number. I get up. I go into this little room. I go by a computer, and I take the test. And I'm flipping through the questions. At the end of the test, this window pops up on the screen. It says, you failed this test. I'm like, shit. I don't want to be the only idiot that failed the test. I mean, everybody else looked like they were passing. So I thought, I'm just going to pretend like I passed, you know. So before I stood up, I went, all right, sweet. And then I walked out, and I was all happy, and I stood by the happy 15-year-olds, right? That's when the woman at the DMV called my name, and in a loud voice, she's like, Kevin, you can retake the test Monday if you'd like. Yeah. So now everybody in the DMV knows that I failed the test, and for some reason I was excited about it. You know, and that's when one of these kids started laughing at me. And I've read stuff about bullying. You don't let them win. So I turned around and looked at the kid. I'm like, you know what? Screw you, kid. Yeah, you passed the test. I didn't. I see you find it funny, but you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to legally drive to the nearest bar, and I'm going to drink this one off. It's like, you have fun waiting for your mom. And then I high-fived the woman behind the counter, and I took off. You know, but in my defense, that test was harder than you think. Like, they wanted textbook answers. I haven't read a textbook in like 25 years. Plus, there's differences between the states that you don't realize. Like, for example, in Minnesota, in a residential area, they drive 30 miles an hour. See, in Wisconsin, that's different. In Wisconsin, in a residential area, we drive drunk. But that wasn't one of the answers. So I just guessed 55, but no. Like I said, I grew up in central Wisconsin. I didn't grow up in a small town. That's not even accurate. I grew up in a remote area. Just thousands of acres of trees just in the middle. Like the nearest gas station or grocery store was a 20-minute drive. So if you forgot something when you were in town, you're screwed. You're going without it. Except for milk. My aunt owned a dairy farm down the road. So when we needed milk, we'd take a pitcher, we'd drive down there, we'd dunk it in the milk tank. Yeah, we'd drink milk right out of that cow's teat. Like, we did organic before people thought it was cool. But back then, that was a different time. You know, if you ate off the land or if you ate organic, you weren't cool. You were just poor. That's the way it was back then. Like, I would like to live in the country now. But back then, when you're a kid, oh, that sucked. Because in the summer, you want to play with your friends, but everybody's a 10-hour bike ride away, so that's not happening. So, of course, we had to watch TV. That's what we did. Except we just had basic TVs. We had CBS, ABC, sometimes NBC, depending on the weather, PBS. But that's what we do. We wake up, we'd start our day with Price is Right, and then we'd move on to Young and the Restless and Guiding Light as the world turns, a little General Hospital. My mom hated that we watched soaps. She's just like, those are for adults. Go play outside. I'm like, there's nothing to do out there. So like any parent in the country, she just like hands us guns and she's like, here, go shoot some squirrels or something. Yeah, our parents used to just give us guns and told us to go in the woods unsupervised for hours on end. Can't do that anymore. We found our way back. But that's the thing, is people in the city think that's weird. But in the country, guns are a thing. You know, we use guns for a lot of things. They're great tools. We do them for target practice. You go hunting. Sometimes fishing, depending on how intoxicated you are. But yeah, guns are a thing in the country. Although I don't agree with people needing to carry them around in public. Like, why do you... Like, I've met some of the people that really want to carry these things around, and they shouldn't even have them. Like, they're a little too excited. And I know the majority of gun owners aren't like that. A lot of my friends still carry guns. And this is the thing, is they all live in a town of 2,000 people where they know everybody. They never leave the area, but they all have the same reason why they carry guns. I just want to be prepared just in case something happens. Got to protect my family. I've been to a lot of these big cities, walked through these dangerous areas, as they like to say. Never felt like I needed to carry a gun. I've been in 3 situations where I needed a fire extinguisher, but nobody carries those things around just in case something happens. Protect the family. Which means these gun-toting people really aren't concerned about emergency situations. They just want to carry a gun to look tough. Which doesn't make any sense to me either. Seriously, carrying a gun doesn't make you look tough. It makes it look like you're afraid of people and you probably suck at fighting. Think about it. You never see an MMA fighter sporting a Glock on their hip. So times are kind of tight right now. Like my wife wanted to cut back on our budget in our house. We've been cutting back so much. Like instead of using Best Western soap, we switched to Motel 6 soap. Like that's drastic cuts. Like we've been eating generic foods for years now. Like it's weird. Like my wife wanted to cut back on the food budget. How do you cut back when you already have generics? But my wife figured it out. She started buying generics. And they're real. It's crazy. Like, if you don't know what I'm saying, we never ate Cheerios because we were already eating Tastios. Like, now we're eating something called grain circles. We're, like, way down. They're horrible. But they're on the shelf. They're right next to the corn squares and the wheat hexagons. They're $1 a box. They got some dust on them. But I like generics. I do. I love generic foods. Don't like brand name stuff anymore. Like, I want the generics. I took my kids to a movie. The lady behind the counter, she's like, what kind of soda would you guys like? I'm like, do you guys have Dr. Thunder back there? And then some half-naked guy came out of the back. He's like, yeah, somebody called a Thunder? Like, thank God Mountain Lightning is off. There's some things you don't want to do generic, though. You know, like, don't get generic macaroni and cheese. That stuff tastes like plastic. It's horrible. Generic toilet paper. Nobody wants to wipe their ass with quarter ply. I have 3 reasons at home you don't buy Great Value brand condoms. You know, there's just things you learn. There's some stuff, like I said, you have to do name brand. Like, I went out and I bought Colgate Sensitive toothpaste. And I've been using that, and I think it's working because my wife yelled at me today, and I cried for like 45 minutes. It was amazing. Like, this stuff is so good. But yeah, being poor sucks, you know, especially in the summer. Like, if a storm rolls through and knocks out your power, because the thing is you don't know if it's a storm or if it's you. Then you quick look outside and you're like, oh, thank God, it's just a tornado knocking all the power lines down. We're fine. We're doing better now. Like, I still have a beater car. Like, I could afford to get a better one, but seriously, where's the fun in that? Because with an older car, I mean, there is no greater joy or excitement than just making it to your destination. As soon as you pull into the parking lot, you're like, oh my God, I made it. Oh, that was close. Whew. I mean, think about it. If you have a nice, reliable car, your travel stories suck. Like, nobody wants to hear that you, conveniently made it. Now, try driving across South Dakota with a car that leaks oil at an alarming rate, can't go faster than 53 miles an hour, shakes and shudders every time you go up a hill, and every 50 miles you have to stop and put air in the rear passenger tire and make sure the duct tape's still holding everything together. Like, that is an adventure. And think about it, you get to feel that way every time you drive. Well, I'm going to get out of here pretty soon. I do have these business cards here. I want to pitch these. Find me on, like I said, I don't do a lot of stuff on social media, but I'm all over the internet. I got some stuff on YouTube. I am on Facebook. I'm on Hennepin County Circuit Court Records. I think I'm still on there. But on the back of the card, you can see it says, take this card to any bar to see if you can get a free drink. So you can give that a shot. I worked up in Munising, Michigan. That was a good weekend. I'm also going to be selling these magnets. These are pretty cool. Throw these on the fridge. It says, what are my chances tonight? You start at 100%, then I put these little nice handy check boxes for you. You can kind of see where you're at the end of the night. Now, here's the thing. Use dry erase marker, okay? Like, you don't want to be stuck not noticing a haircut with a permanent marker. That's a -70. That's a big one. So use dry erase. I mean, you think, hey, this is just for you men? No, this is actually for you ladies. Throw it up on the fridge. He comes in. He squeezes your butt. You look over. You're like, no, you're at a -48. How did that happen? This is not happening for you tonight. But I'll be selling these magnets. They're $5 a piece. Business cards are $20. No, I'm just kidding. Business cards are free. I do a lot of kids' parties, so you can check me out. But before I get out of here, I see there's a lot of ladies here. Now, this is something I always have to bring up. Ladies, if you have your man go out and buy your monthly necessities, like, do us men a favor, get very specific on what we're supposed to buy you. You know, my wife had me do this the other day. I got to the store. I didn't know if I was supposed to get tampons, pads, or panty liners. And then you guys have what? Kotex, Playtex, Tampax, Tampax Pearls, always, maybe, sometimes. You got Carefree, Stay Free, Sugar Free, Equate, Good Sense, Roundy's 5-star quality super plugs. Then you got Lights, Regulars, Heavy, Steady Stream, White Pants, Sunday Mass, Mega Heavy Steady Stream Super Flows, Mother of 6, Mother of 12, Holy Mary, Mother of Gods. You got Fresh Scent, New Car Scent, Vanilla Aroma, Poise Pads, and something with wings. But like I said, I didn't know what to get her, so I just bought her a ShamWow. All right, well, thank you. Thank you. That is all my time. I'll be sticking around right over here. You can grab a business card or buy some magnets. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Crummy, dungy, dingy, gusty, grimy, grungy, icky. If any of these apply to your car, our car wash is quick and convenient and the best way to keep folks from talking dirty about your car.